And now, ladies and gentlemen, the star of our show, direct from the bar,
PB.
Settle down, settle down. Before we get going on this video, I just want to take a moment, really, I do, because I know how this is. For those who don't know, this is Keisha, one of Marie Nicole's mods. If you don't mind taking a few minutes to put aside and send our prayers in her direction. So she just lost a parent. I noticed, like, because I've lost both of mine. It's not easy. There are no magic words that anybody could say to make things better for her. It really sucks to have to go through this, but I promise you, sweetie, this. Your parent is in a better place. And those are words that I used to hate at funerals to hear all the time. People used to go, oh, the person's in a better place. I used to go, how the hell do you know? Until I actually died myself. And when I came back now, those words actually have a different meaning for me altogether. Trust me when I tell you, they are in a better place. I did not want to come back here. I was pretty content with where I was and very happy. When people ask me to describe it, I say there's no words. You can't describe it. But I did remember a song that did describe this place a little bit. And the words were something like, I know a place where ain't nobody dying, ain't nobody crying. I'll take you there. If you just listen to that song, that's the best I could do to describe what it's like to be on the other side. Your parent is definitely in a much better place. So my thoughts and prayers go out to Keisha and her family in her time of mourning. I know it's not easy, but I hope things get better for you real soon. So if you have a chance to do so, reflect on the things that were positive, things that made you laugh. Share stories, and you'll feel the spirit of that individual there with you. So please, people, take a couple of minutes and just send Keisha our prayers. I appreciate your time. It's kind of hard to continue to do the video after that because I lost both my parents and I remember what it was like. But many of you guys are asking me about the Zim dollar. And I heard a video in which Lynette Zangs was talking about the Zim dollar, and I want to share it with you. So let's go ahead and get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it.
And you know I've been paying a lot of attention to Zimbabwe. And I know people say, oh, well, that was over there, but this is over here. That would never happen, though if it has happened 3 times here. So that's really hopium. What they're really showing us is what it looks like as governments and central banks are attempting to regain your confidence. So you use their currency that they control. And it's kind of like promising a gold-plated parachute, but handing over a bag of feathers instead. Look at this. Zimbabwe hires advisors over 21 billion defaulted debt pile. Oh, wait a minute. But didn't they just back their currency with gold? I've been saying this right along, and I will say it again and again and again. You cannot build a new currency on the back of a failed currency that's loaded with debt. You have to get rid of that debt in order to start over, start clean. That's why we have to have hyperinflation, and not just in Zimbabwe, in the entire world, because all currencies are really in the same place. Official figures from the end of June, right? When did they do this new currency? Oh yeah, April. Okay. Official figures from the end of June show the sovereign had 12.3 billion in external debt stock. That's debt that foreign governments or foreign players have bought. And 8.7 billion in domestic debt that's been defaulted. So, forcing the public to buy that debt. I mean, we certainly do that here in the U.S. Read Social Security. Make sure you watch the video that I'm doing on that.
Also, this would be the time for you to pay attention to Iraq's external debt, because they do talk about the internal and external debt. Listen to what Lynette Zangs is saying and then apply it to Iraq.
Make sure you watch the video that I'm doing on that. But when external debt, when you owe others more, if you just owe it in your country, you just devalue the currency, and that's how it is. But when you owe it to others, you got a bigger problem, and they've not been able to get more debt out in the world market. Because again, I'm going to say this till the cows come home. You cannot build a new debt currency on an old mountain of debt. You've got to get rid of that debt. And it really is that simple. It is not that complicated. But don't worry. Don't worry, because Zimbabwe Central Bank chief says the ZiG 43% devaluation is a once-off event. Yeah. This is the 6th attempt at a stable currency. I'm pretty sure those words are trusted. And even after that one-off event, because that's how they always want to sell everything to you, and I want you to take heed on this, because I'm pretty sure when they go in and do a sweep of your American IRAs, not the Zimbabwean government, but our government, they said, how are they going to sell it? As a one-off event. Why? Because then people don't change their habits. Well, it's not a one-off event, but even after that, it weakened another 7.4% in the aftermath of the devaluation. Central bank targets credit creation to curb money supply. Yeah, it's not them doing this. What the hey, right? Except that's the way that you create that inflation. Previous efforts at having a stable local currency were sunk by hyperinflation caused by the government printing money to finance spending. No, it's your fault. It's the public's fault for using the credit. It's the public's fault for demanding more money in higher wages. It's the public's fault, not the central bank's fault, that the only tool they have is this and their hollow promises. Where have we heard that before? Because what's happening to the normal Zimbabweans says basic goods in limited supply after the ZiG devaluation. Things like cooking oil, bread, sugar sold in the informal market. In other words, the black market. That's what they're referring to as the informal market. But the gold-backed currency weakened 6% to the dollar since the devaluation. Right? The official markets put caps on what you can do. And if you're in a devaluation, that creates a problem. So you've got to go outside of the formal markets to the black market. You may have the gold reserves, but what the central bank lacks is credibility. So what do they measure? What do they test? They test consumer confidence and inflation expectations. It's that confidence and expectations that they're counting on, but it's very short supply. And what I'm really showing you is what's going to happen all over the world. How many times can you be lied to if you don't know the truth? And that's every single time. But these devaluations and rapid inflation reveals the lie, right? People don't trust the currency. Shocking! The implications of that lack of confidence were playing out on the nation's streets. Zimbabwe lacks fiscal discipline. We spend more than we earn. Oh my goodness. We fund that spending through printing, and the printing ultimately erodes the value of the currency. It doesn't ultimately erode the value of the currency. It erodes it every single time they have it. And what they want is they want it to happen slowly enough so that the Fed hits its 2% price target, because then you have what they call price stability. You don't ask for more money. You don't change your spending habits. That's what they want. They want it at a level that you still do everything that you did before. You just don't realize it. And I got to say, does this not sound familiar to you? Are we not doing exactly the same thing? We spend more than we earn, and we fund it through printing. So, yeah, that's Zimbabwe over there. But it's also the US, the EU, Great Britain, China, Japan, Russia. I mean, take your list, take your pick. There's 196 countries in the world. They're all doing the same thing. And there's virtually no value left in any of those currencies. Zimbabwe's a little bit ahead of us. And that is good because we can look at what's happening and get into a position. But I mean, if you haven't done it yet, you better click that link below and set up a time to have your own sound money strategy in place. And we need more than sound money, physical gold, and physical silver. We need food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. And arguably, community has become the single most important thing because we don't have the same luxury of time that we once had. So you've got to come together in community to support each other and help us through this. Help us all through this. You bring whatever talents you have. You bring whatever you have. And then that is what makes all the difference in the world. Because what we're seeing from all governments, it's like a magic trick, right? I mean, they tell you these things, they show you these things. You know it's not true, but you don't really know where to look. Gaslighting 101. The RBZ, so the Central Bank of Zimbabwe, assures Zimbabweans of currency stability. The currency is stable, for goodness sakes, right? So they're telling us one thing, even though there are Zimbabweans experience, especially with that recent overnight devaluation, but the 6th devaluation since 2006, you know, it's cognizant dissonance. It doesn't make sense. It goes against their experience. But don't worry. Everything is good. Look in my eyes. Don't look at your experience. First and foremost, what happened cannot be described as devaluation. Don't call it a devaluation. It was just a manifestation of the event on the ground where the parallel market had just set its agenda. The parallel market is the black market. That is a supply and demand market. So don't believe your experience. This was on their fault because they wanted to charge you more. Not us. Our currency is stable. I mean, do you believe this? Because I got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to discuss with you. Don't worry. The devaluation was just a dream. And he also clarified the difference between gold-linked and backed currency. And this is a very, very, very important distinction, one that they don't actually do. But let's talk about that. And let me emphasize that indeed, our currency is backed by gold and other precious metals and the foreign currency balances that we have with the Federal Reserve. Now, there is a difference between backing a currency with gold and linking a currency to the prices of gold. Well, yeah, What is that? Well, if a currency is backed by gold, just like it was prior to 1933, if you did not like what your government was doing, you simply walked into the bank with this and walked out with this. It was convertible. You could pull it out of the system and hold their toes to the fire. Could you do that in Zimbabwe? No. In fact, you didn't even have a bill for the ZIG. It was all digital and non-convertible. Sorry, Charlie, you're wrong. Your currency was not backed by gold. It was linked to the price of gold, the manipulated spot market. It's a joke. But hey.
The way we see it is that this depreciation was a once-off. I've just given you the parameters that would suggest that there would be no further reason for the rate to slide further. So to the extent that it was a once-off, and we are expecting things to stabilize going forward, I would say that the impact, yes, has been felt, but going forward, there should be stabilization. In fact, we should see prices starting to fall. This assurance is very strong. Why am I saying so? It's because as the central bank, we have control over money supply. And you have my assurance that the deposits, where they are at 10.7 billion, will not grow much further. You have my assurance that the reserves that are backing the currency will grow because we will continue to get royalties from the minerals that we mine. We have put in place measures as the central bank to curtail further credit growth because, as you know, money supply also increases through credit creation by banks. And the recent move that we took to, number one, increase state reserves, and number two, up the bank policy rate will actually slow down credit creation. So if you put all that together, the scenario that you get is that money supply will remain under control. The reserves will continue to go up. So for what reason will the exchange rate go up?
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has assured the public of exchange rate stability as gold reserves backing the ZiG have increased. Yeah, but it's not convertible. It's not backing. It's linked. And they can say anything they want when it's linked.
So what Lynette is saying is simply this. What good is it to redenominate your currency, change your currency, support your currency with gold if you don't change the bad habits that you have with money supply, debt, and how you manage your money? It does no good. It's a combination of things that are going to take Zimbabwe out of the hellhole that they're in. Now, Zimbabwe is in a country that has a ton of natural resources that can make them very, very wealthy. But when your government is corrupt, it does no good. Do you understand what I'm saying? Anyways, I will leave the link for the full video down below in the description. But Lynette makes some perfect points. You cannot build a new currency on top of an old currency's debt. You have to find a way to get rid of that debt. We see those steps being taken over in Iraq, them tackling both their external and internal debt. This needs to be done in Zimbabwe as well. People thinking that Zimbabwe is going to do something about their currency so that you guys can make money off it, that's not going to happen. First of all, the currency that you see here on the screen is obsolete. They've stopped using that currency and went on to newer currencies. So if you have this old currency, it's no longer any good. And people hate that I tell you that, but that's the truth. You can do your own research and find out for yourself. Go on the internet and just ask it. My $100 trillion from Zimbabwe, is that currency good any longer? Or is it obsolete? And you'll find out for yourself. Now, to collectors, I said this a zillion times before. To collectors, if you have a crisp, uncirculated bill, you will get more value from it by sending it in, getting it graded, and then selling it. Anyways, that's it for now. Again, I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to Keisha's family and Keisha herself. I hope things get easier. I promise you they will. And I promise you that your loved ones are in a much better place than this hellhole we're living in. Anyways, that's it for now. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm out.